Hi, so welcome to my first video on this channel. This is going to be a 10-step process on how best to pass as male for transgender men. This can be used by someone pre-T, by someone who's a lot older, it all depends. It's as long as you follow these steps, you're doing the most you can before you get HRT to help be perceived as male in public. Just a quick disclaimer, passing isn't always important to everyone, it depends on the person, but generally for people with gender dysphoria I think this will be helpful because it means that generally you'll be misgendered less. Hair is probably one of the most important things in terms of passing. Women often get read as male if they have short hair because of gender stereotypes, so having a really masculine hairstyle will do a huge amount for passing. I would recommend short on the sides, long on the top. I generally have a fade from a 0.5, but it all depends on your face shape. You can look at which sort of style you'd want on Pinterest, for example. I wouldn't recommend any crazy hair colours because mostly only women do this, but if you want to, do what you want. Also, if you have super light hair naturally, you might want to dye it slightly darker because generally you don't see many men with blonde hair. You can also use gel or clay to give your hair a more masculine style. Generally, I would recommend copying what the guys around you are doing so that you don't stand out too much. Also, don't overdo the gel, it's not a look. Only 8-year-old boys do that. Or me last year, but whatever. On to hair more generally. Cis men generally tend to have thicker eyebrows, so you can put things like coconut oil on your eyebrows to help them grow thicker. I wouldn't recommend makeup at all because most cis men don't wear it and therefore it makes you stand out anyway, even if you are really good at making it look natural. Also, coconut oil can be used to add facial hair as well as minoxidil, but it's a little bit risky. Also, just a side note, things like acne and discoloration in your skin can actually help you pass a little bit. Most men, especially teenage boys, don't have perfect skin at all, therefore you'll actually stand out more with perfect skin. The next thing on my list is voice. Lowering your voice naturally can really help you pass. It's a dead giveaway if someone who looks really masculine has a really high-pitched voice, especially if you're older. I would recommend some voice training. Actors on YouTube have often said speaking from lower down in your body can help deepen your voice. As you can hear, I don't exactly sound like the Hulk or anything, so it's not necessarily detrimental to your passing. Now on to build. Silhouette is really important in passing. You generally want to have broader shoulders and a fairly narrow waist to give you a sort of Dorito shape. This is what bodybuilders tend to go for, and obviously most of us aren't bodybuilders, so really just focus on being as physically fit as you can and I guess work towards the ideal body for you. Fitness in general can really help dysphoria, and I plan to do a video in the future going through different exercises trans men can do to help get that specific shape and reduce chest as well. Feel free to just subscribe if you want to see that. Cis men generally tend to be more muscular, therefore having more definition in your arms can make you look a lot more masculine, especially when it comes to tank tops in the summer. Now on to binding. People generally see binding as really important, but if you have a small chest, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Of course, a binder can be really helpful. I would recommend Underworks. I know a lot of people recommend GC2B, but for smaller chests, GC2B doesn't really flatten as much as personally I would like, but you know, shop around. Always remember not to bind for longer than 8 hours, as this can actually make top surgery a lot harder and also severely damage your ribs. But you can use tape, which I think is you're allowed to keep it on for a little bit longer. I would recommend KT tape. This is especially useful in the summer because binders get really sweaty, it's grim. Now on to clothing. You've probably been told before to size up a lot in your clothes, but I actually wouldn't recommend this. What generally you should do is look at what the boys around you are wearing and copy them. That way you won't stand out. This especially goes for things like really, I don't want to say feminine, but typically feminine graphic t-shirts, for example. Try and stick to more plain designs. Also, don't wear any women's clothes. Shop in the men's section. Women's clothes accentuate women's bodies, which is good for them but not so good for us. Generally, I'd recommend joggers and okay, so I have this cool outfit, I'll put it up. So you got camo joggers, black t-shirt, black hoodie, some like trainers, Nike trainers. You got it. You can't get misgendered in that. If you get misgendered in that, it's something else on the list. It's not clothes. Clothes aren't the problem for you. For my dudes with bigger chests, generally layering can be useful, but don't go overboard. Something like a t-shirt and a hoodie will work fine. You don't want to be too sweaty in the summer. Trousers like board shorts and joggers especially help to hide hips and generally give you a much more straight looking figure, which helps you look more masculine. Now on to packing. I see a lot of people in these videos say that packing isn't necessary, which is sometimes true, but it's completely necessary if you're going to wear something super tight like skinny jeans. Normally, people aren't looking at your crotch. When you wear super tight jeans and it's very obvious that there's nothing there, it'll stand out. You can use something as simple as a pair of socks rolled up, or you can buy a packer off Amazon for like a tenner like I did. Now on to height. A lot of people think there's nothing you can do for this, but I actually wear height insoles which increase your height by about 2 inches, which can make all the difference. Also, shoes like Creepers or Doc Martens are excellent for increasing height, and they look really cool. This one's going to sound bad, and I don't really listen to my own advice here, but maybe try not to hang out with all the girls in your year that are like 5'11". I mean, makes you look small, man. It makes me look really, really small. Now on to body language. Try not to think about this so much, but if you watch other cis guys and slowly start to copy their movements, you should be able to pick up what they do automatically. Also, don't do things like cross your legs or stand with your hands on your hips, as this, again with the silhouette from earlier, will make people read you as female without even thinking. Try and walk in slightly longer paces and try not to make your hips sway from side to side. This won't make a huge difference, but it makes you feel more confident anyway. As for talking, try and talk a little bit slower and think about what you're saying. Also, try not to get involved in stuff like girly gossip. Mostly just because it will improve your mental health. Probably the most important thing on my list is confidence. Confidence is everything with passing. If you believe you're male and show that, people will just pick up on that. Men are generally quite confident and have quite large, they take up a lot of space. So if you just be yourself and be confident, then I'm sure people will read you as male anyway. I've talked previously about trying to copy what other boys do, so hanging out with other boys can also be helpful, but try not to pick up all that gross teenage boys sexist bullshit, okay? Remember, being a trans man means that you've experienced in some way what it's like to be read as female, and we all know that women don't get treated overly well, so being polite and respectful is the least you can do. The main thing I want you to take from this video is to be the best man that you can be. Overall, in a few years, you won't even be thinking about passing. That'll be super behind you. All you've got to try and do now is to be the happiest you can be, and if being read as male is part of that, then good for you. Hopefully this video will help you. Thanks for watching.